turn our attention now to the hockey. And Sam, you were just telling us while we were previewing the breakfast show on Monday morning that all leagues that remain undecided could have been decided today, but only one did, and we know which one that is. So we'll start with that. The Roughborough Women's Premier League. Congratulations to Vikings A on yet another title. They won 13-0 against Saracens to seal it. It was already pretty much a done deal, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Saracens have had a struggle this season, it has to be said, and nobody could see any other way than a Vikings A victory. It ended 13-0 after being 7-0 at half-time. Sarah Blackman with 5 goals, Kim Carney with 4, Daisy Loader with 1, Kirsty Cooper with 1, and Louise Slater with 1. Now, I know there is one other scorer, but they can't figure that out, so they're going to figure that out and give us a text as soon as they possibly can.
All right, we'll wait for that with interest. Backers A3, Ramsey 1. Good win for Backers, that.
Really good win for Backers. It just shows how hard they've been training over the past 10, 11 weeks. Ramsey, you could tell their fitness in the second half was just starting to tell a little bit. Backers A, though, Emma Whiting with 2, just her first game after coming back after pregnancy. Emma Corty with 1, and then Ramsey's goal scorer is Christina Kermeen. And what that does do is put Backers Ladies A level with Castown Ladies A and in a 3-way fight for that third position.
Castown A lost. They lost 5-2 against Valkyries A.
Yeah, and Valkyries A, they're the second best team in the league this season for a reason. They're probably Vikings Ladies A's biggest rivals at the minute. Obviously, they won the title last year. Before Vikings got it back this year. I haven't got the goal scorers of Valkyries A, but Castown A's goal scorer was Zoe Shimon with 2.
Let's go to the Roughborough Men's Premier League, and this is going down to a showdown between the top 2 next Saturday. Backers A remain on top. They won 5-0 against Saracens A.
Yeah, and I honestly cannot wait for the showdown game next week. It's something that everybody's really looking forward to, including the teams that are playing in it. Saracens A, though, they're a little bit decimated by injury. They only had 11 players, didn't have any subs today, but they put up a good fight and scared Backers A little bit at the start. They won a penalty flick, which they unfortunately missed, but it seemed to kick Backers A into gear. Andy Whiting scoring 4 and Jamie Brown, the captain, on the score sheet for Backers A.
And Vikings A just remain behind them. They won 3-0 against Valkyries A.
Yeah, I said in the preview shows that Vikings A really need to start putting their chances away, and they did that today really, really well, and they defended really well as well. Vikings A's goal scorers were Macklin Wilson with 2 and Tom Wilson with 1 to set up the showdown next week.
And in that showdown, Backers, if they win or draw, will take the title. Vikings need to win the game to take the title in the last game of a very delayed season before we then go straight, presumably, into a new season.
Yes, straight immediately the week after.
At least we get this one finished, so that's good. Roughborough Men's Division 1, Vikings B2, Backers B2.
Yeah, real tight game, in fairness. It was 0-0 at half-time, and then Vikings B came back to, put 2 goals away. Through Danny Williams, his first game back after 2 years out through injury. Came back and put Vikings B ahead. And then Ian Perry on the score sheet as well. 2-0 up, you'd think, no, they're in the driving seat. They probably had the better chances as well, but that Backers B side led by Matt Greenbank. One of their young players, I've forgotten his name now, made an absolutely stunning goal line save from Andrew Harding. And if he hadn't have made that, they wouldn't have won the game. They wouldn't have drawn the game, but that puts Backers B in the driving seat for the title if they can win next week.
I think were the goals in the last 5 minutes from Backers to
absolutely,
get level.
Yeah, Backers B, Matt Greenbank dragging them back with 2 goals.
Vikings C1, Castletown A 2.
Relegation battle blown wide open in this league. Castletown A's goal scorers are Christian Stereopoulos. Vikings C's was Lee Cowell. But that puts 3 teams on 4 points in the relegation zones. And although there's a big league structure restructure going on for the following season, which starts in 2 weeks' time, you don't want to finish bottom of the table. Castown now move up to 5th. Valkyries move down to 6th owing to their result, which was 11-2 to Harlequins, which puts them in a really difficult position now because even if they win next week, they've got to turn over a 9-goal deficit in goal difference because they lost so many goals today. It was really close in the goal difference stakes. Valkyries B's goal scorers were Chris Thomas and Dave Hall. Harlequins were Christopher Cave with 3, George Ratcliffe with 2, Paul Nuttall with 2, Alfie Swales with 2, Ewan Wiley and Ronan Santantoglia.
Well done. Rossborough Women's Division 1. Valkyries B 6, Backers B 0.
And Valkyries B have been outstanding all season. They haven't conceded a goal. They've won 7 out of 7, scored 32 goals in those 7 games.
They'd already wrapped it up.
Yeah,
they'd
wrapped
way
it
back
up
in March.
a long time ago. But they've continued that form after the enforced break. And I don't think Backers B really stood a chance today. That Valkyries B side's really, really good. Steph Cottier with a hat-trick to consolidate her top goal scorer position. Florence Barber, Eleanor Devereaux and Lisa Pugh on the score sheet as well.
Castletown B 0, Harlequins 2.
Yeah, and that puts Harlequins up into second place. Becca Ormshire and Emily Middleton on the score sheet for Harlequins.
Rossborough Men's Division 2, Saracens B 0, Backers Colts 2.
Massive result, and people laughed at me when I called this in the preview shows.
Last of the summer wine.
No, that's the Backers C side. The Backers Colts are very much the young side, and to be fair, they've come out of nowhere to now top the league. Yes, they had a game in hand, which they drew against Valkyries C in midweek, but they knew if they won today, they would go top of the league against Saracens B, and they've done that. Richie Weir and Harry Kalin on the score sheet for Backers Colts, and they are in the driving seat for the final game of the season.
The veteran side, well, they didn't have to do much today to get a 5-0 win. They got a walkover then.
I'd imagine they've been staying warm next to the radiator in the Woodburn pub, to be honest with you.
Ramsey B 2, Castletown B 3.
Yeah, real close game this. It's a bit of a fight for that third place. Castletown needed to win to sort of keep that fight going. Steve Smith, Don Stewart and Joe Shuttleworth for Castletown B. And the evergreen Dan Stevenson and the young Tom Hurd on the score sheet for Ramsey B.
And Rossborough Women's Division 2, Backers C 7, Ramsey B 0.
Yeah, and a big result for Backers C. It keeps them in with a chance next week of overtaking Vikings C, although they do need a 16-goal swing in order to do so. But it gives them a chance, mathematically still possible. I haven't got any goal scores for Backers C, though.
And it was Vikings C 5, Valkyries C 1.
Yeah, the Valkyries C goal scorer is Kate Doran. Vikings C knew if they won, they've pretty much guaranteed the title. Joanna Roney with the first game back again from pregnancy with 2 goals. Jan Carney, Rebecca Kelly and Anya Watterson on the score sheet for Vikings C. Champions-elect, I'd say.
And let's give the Rossborough Mixed Under-16 League a mention as well before we finish and rejoin with FM. Harlequins 6, Castletown 3.
Yeah, Harlequins goal scorers were Alfie Swales with 2, Oren Blackmore, Lydia Wiley, Bobby Corran and Macy Crellin. Castletown's were Joe Savage with 2 and Emily Carron. I haven't figured out which way the league's going to go at this point because there are quite a few games left to play in under-16. Some have only played 4 and some have played 7, and so it's quite a difficult one to try and work out and calculate at this point.
Saracens top, I think.
They are, yes.
Yeah, but didn't play today. Valkyries 0, Vikings 3.
Yeah, and Vikings have put themselves in with a good chance of catching Saracens with Maddie Butterworth with 2 and Clodagh Nealon with 1.
We don't often have title showdowns in September, do we?
No.
It's been a strange old year, but we're going to have a real ding-dong of an affair, aren't we, next Saturday? And it's difficult, I would imagine, for both sides to get back into things because they've had such a long break. You can't replicate games in training.
No, but I think on the other side of the coin is they've all had a really good break now. All the little niggly injuries that people were carrying over the season, they're completely over that. And I know backers have been training for about 10, 11 weeks now, so they've been keeping really, really sharp. Vikings have had about 5 weeks of training, so they're not quite as sharp as backers, but they've just proven today that all those little niggles that people were carrying have been washed away, and yeah, they're looking good for next week, and they're really confident going into next week.
Excellent. Look forward to that one, and hopefully we'll be able to keep you in touch throughout the afternoon on that big title decider. Thumbs up there from Sam. He will not want to miss that game. I'm
Absolutely
sure
not.
any hockey fan or connoisseur does not want to miss that title showdown next Saturday. Congratulations as well, let's not forget, to Vikings A on yet another title in the Women's Premier League. Sam, thank you very much.